So now I want to talk about some effective drills that I give a lot of my clients that are dealing with low back issues. And it's very difficult to give you just a one-size-fits-all program. It's really important to go back to those movement screens that we did up front, and hopefully you've got that checklist of areas that you had problems with. And then we'll give you a heads up based on what you saw on your screen. I'll give you a hint as to what would be the optimal exercises to add into your warm-up portion and add into your accessory work to limit that low back issue. But first I want to go through that number one secret to start fixing your low back pain now. And it's not some fancy exercise, it's a very simple thing we're going to talk about, and that is your feet, and specifically your foot position. And it's huge to make sure that you have optimal foot position in your back squats and in your deadlifts, because that is your foundation. If feet are not in an optimal position, it can affect all the way up the chain, the knee, the hip joint, and transfer forces to the low back. So I'm going to demonstrate for that positioning wise, and I get a lot of folks that have those flat arches, right? And what that causes us to do is I'll demonstrate that arch flattens out a bit. You can see my knee position right there is diving inward already, and that causes my hip to also dive in as well. So now I can't really optimize function of that lateral glute, the glute medius and the pelvic stabilizers, right? So now oftentimes that's picked up by a lot of the low back musculature, and that may be a big cause of why you start feeling significantly tense after your workouts or start having onset of low back pain. Also, I'll see a lot of athletes that get knee pain and anterior hip pain because of this. So to optimize foot position, it really starts with that big toe as well. I want to think of spreading the big toe outward, or what we call abducting that big toe. That gives me a nice rigid arch right off the bat to function as getting better knee position and better hip position. So you can see now that knee is not diving inward. That allows that kneecap to track over that second toe like we want it to for our back squats, and it allows me to produce more force through my glutes, specifically for those deadlifts and any squat positioning that we may get into. So try this, start focusing in on your feet. There's plenty of drills that we can go through, and we're going to go through a few of them in a moment to start freeing up tension to the base of the foot and then start strengthening up those arches if you're someone that has flat feet. And then we're going to get directly into my go-to exercises for your hip hinge, for your squat, and just general overall mobility.